Hi, this is IK. Welcome to call function as function, function in arrow function, variable. In a graphical user interface, event call function. In our three applications, 454, 470, and the tank 1, I will show all calling of function, all event and calling of function, and explain why somewhere is directly function, call function, and sometimes over we call at first arrow function, and after that function, and why sometimes call function as variable. Here is a look at this structured assignment. The structured assignment we call this statement where we declare, it is declared, here we declare two variables practically, title and set title. Set title is function, but here set title is right as a variable. Why? Because of rendering. At first, we have always rendering. That we see component on the screen, component must go to rendering. And when we open component, it is rendering. First, we have rendering of component. And if changes of state of that component, we will see re-rendering that component, but rendering, process of rendering. In PHP, for example, we call that processing, and other programs we call processing. Processing must be page must be processed, and here must be rendered, and process and rendering means execute a page. And when we go from top to down, import use state, it means that on this file, in this component, we have hook use state, function use state. From a module React, import update post from a module for our configuration file for a Redux post slice, and use dispatch again hook, function hook from React Redux. Okay, processes, we have that three function. Look at import update post. We also import it like variable. Update post, use state, we call that like a variable. Use dispatch, we import it like variable, because like function would be this option, call it like function. Why it is wrong here? Wrong is because rendering. Use state would be execute. Use state function, write coding like that means calling directly here with first rendering. In first rendering, we calling execution of use state, but we don't want it. we don't want it because we write it like variable and it is not it will not be rendered as function, but will be import. Use state function would be import in this component, what means would be coming in our document as we write it. Update post, for example, coming as a reference to update post function. It is reference here. Update post exists original on post slice. Use state, but never mind how they come in here. We can use that function, use state, update post, use dispatch in our document. Never mind as if it coming here like reference to original or like copy complete of that function. Okay, after that, we have here first example where we write function, we write as a variable. Use state is variable, is object. Update post, use dispatch. It is writing here like variable, like object. And if we don't know anything about React, we know that it is, here is a variable name. 3 variables we have here. Now we know reason. Reason is that function with parentheses, name and parentheses, means calling that function. This variable use state, it is like declaration of variable here, and it is exist, but we must call it in our coding, next coding. And here is update post form. Again, update post form is function. It is function component, what we can write like declaration of variable. Again, it is a variable, update post form. It is declaration. We declare this component as a variable. It is name of a variable, and it is equal and it is equal arrow function. It is always this is very useful. There is we always use that like this: object equal function, arrow function, and again, when we, okay, about arrow function, why arrow function here is not important, but we can say that arrow function in some of next example, and in body of that arrow function, this arrow function, there is a parameter, and there is body. Body is all document. And first what we see, declaration of title and set title. It is declaration to variable, title and set title, but set title is function. Title is variable, but set title is function. But here it is coding as a variable without this. Same reason like up in use state, update post, use dispatch. If we code set title like function here, like with parentheses, it will be it will be running, will be called and execute during first rendering. Rendering is a lot of event, and that event running all statement. And when rendering sees something like this, it is call function, and rendering call that function. But we don't need it here. We need declaration, only declaration of set title, and we use only name of function set title. Because on the left side, we have two variables. We have now for C two variables. In array, it is one array with two members, two variables. And the right side, we see use state function, but we call that destructured assignment. Destructured assignment. And left is two variable and right is one function. And this function would be called during first rendering. Why? Because we code it with parentheses. And inside parentheses, we write initial state. Which state? Of title. Title is a state. Title is variable. Set title is a function. But writing like this, we look at like variable. It will not be started. It will not be called. But right side, we have an example of function like as function. We call it as function with parentheses and with parameter in that parentheses. And use state post title will be executed during first rendering and during every re-rendering. Because of that, at first, when we use console.log, at first we will see initial title. And after that, we will see title changed, immutable, update, etc., etc. But here is concentration on writing function. Use, it is directly call of function. Call function. And rendering, every rendering call it. And how many rendering? We will see that many title if we write console.log that variable title. And thanks to that, we can see how many rendering and re-rendering we have before to see component on the screen. All the same, what I said is important for this structured assignment. Directly call function use state with this parameter. We can call how many we will like use state. And here is a declaration of, again, variable dispatch equal right side is use dispatch. And look at calling with parentheses. It means directly function and first rendering execute use dispatch. And we need it because execution of use dispatch hook give declaration of this dispatch, write it in a variable format, but that dispatch, thanks to use dispatch, that object dispatch, there is possibility or is method of store. It became method of store. That constant dispatch became method, function, method of store, Redux store. And that dispatch is something like listener of event, and dispatch, that method, dispatch action creator, not action creator, to store, to Redux store. But that possibility, dispatch have after this statement, because we have execution of use dispatch, and that use dispatch hook is programmed in background. It is coming by module React Redux. There is a possibility to that we declare method dispatch, and we have method dispatch for the future. It is same use dispatch with parentheses, same like use state must be execute, because we must have initial state. We must have declaration of title and set title. Like use dispatch give possibility to declare dispatch method. Also use state make us create set title. Also it is method for immutable update. What? Title, state, title, content, state. We have title, state, content, state, and also set content function for immutable update. We see that here we have complicated job, but for us very simple. Only declare this, title, content, set title, set content, declare this, and we have all coding what some other people program produce for us. And it is declarative programming, because we here want title and set title for state and immutable updated state. But we don't, we ask it, we declare it. It is declaration. We declare it. But we don't write how will be programmed complete process. In imperative programming, we program complete process, and because of that, we understand all. We understand all. We produce new, we code class, and we create new object on that class. We declare variable and use that variable. We know all, but here we have only declaration. Also, this import, all that is declaration, because there is no touch with the syntax like we used before. I never before write function as variable. It is declaration. We declare, and of course, that declaration is something like we learn without understanding. And my video is for understanding. I want that I understand, and I share my learning, my process thinking and learning with you. You can comment, you can say what you think, you can explain in your, but it is kind how I like explain. It is the reason why I write this video, because I like explain what I understand during my I think 2 years I write about Angular at first and now React, and every day I program, but I don't not hurry advance. I program, for example, in last year it is 3 function. Through that 3 function, I explain all about React, Redux, and the tank. And from this application, part by part, I go in a deeper understanding, and by practice, I understand what I said you now. Okay, it is excellent, excellent example about function, syntax of function, calling function, writing, coding function as variable name of variable, or coding function with parentheses as it is directly calling for function. This direct calling of function, it is a normal syntax from first day of programming, call function. A declaration of variable before is also some kind of calling variable, but variable cannot be called like function, because variable in before, there is nothing for execute. Variable is content, what function use in process. And same here, title is variable, really variable. Set title is function what will update, immutable update title. A constant can save. Again, we can here declare a variable can save equal Boolean title. It means if title exists, would be 1. You see, it is right Boolean, it is function. Logical function would convert if title not empty, it is exist, Boolean title will be 1. It is function Boolean, and we have parentheses. It means that in first rendering, Boolean would be execute. We call rendering, call that function and execute that function. And if title exists, I look it up. Title exists because we have initial value post title, and the title exists. It means that it will be in first rendering, it will be 1, because here is initial state. Also, dispatch, our object dispatch or method of store, is also ready for use. It means exist. That method exists after this statement. And Boolean title 1 in our concretely example, and logic means both sides of and must be 1, that result of logic would be 1. And the Boolean content is also 1. And after first rendering, in this moment, we have can say, variable can say, equal 1. Okay, it means we have title, we have set title, content, set content, dispatch, use dispatch. We have all. Now we have one. Let's go and asynchronous calling of asynchronous. Here is on update post click as variable equal arrow function. Asynchronous. We start asynchronous process. It's starting promise, and arrow function is a function what create process, that asynchronous process. And here is E short of event, and here is E prevent default. They have some warning if I delete it, and that warning said that form can be, there is a behavior, default behavior. When we write field, we push button, and forms can be state empty. But here I use show form, show edit form. It means that I with code set show edit form, false true. I control visibility of form. And it is I don't want default behavior of form, but I want that form behavior like I code it, and that edit form. At first, I see update button, but when I click update button, I want to see form, update form in that cell. And when I finish job, when I push update of update form, I want edit form would be invisible. And with the flags set show edit form, I control flags is show edit form, but set show edit form is a function what immutable update show edit form, false true, and after false I don't see update form. And because of that, there is a warning, and warning means program work. It is not red, it is yellow, and program work normal, but I write it because instructions about that warning said me that I do it, and I do it. Okay, here is, I concentrate on function, arrow function, etc. Here is even in body of this function, we have, look at this. It is nothing is accessible to rendering because all go in body of arrow function. All this go in body of arrow function. And it is a role of arrow function that it is obstacle to be started what we don't like to be started. It is obstacle, arrow function is obstacle that obstacle to calling function during rendering, during any rendering, first re-rendering, it cannot be called. here in the body of arrow function, it is, look at, it is function here, prevent default, with parentheses, cannot be executed during rendering. And we like it. It would be rendering when I push update on form update. In that moment, it is actual for form. Also, this if structure, look at, I use here if structure. I can use it here also declarative, question mark structure. But I use here if structure. And sometimes I use if structure, sometimes declarative, because it is a learning process. I want to teach you about if structure that is the same like question ternary. Ternary means three part. Ternary operator. It is construction with question mark and column. And if can, and now, during the first rendering, all inside body will not be called. And can save is one, but never mind, nothing of this will be executed. Here is dispatch coding like function with parentheses. Inside that is again update post parameter, but writing as function, and all that would be called in first rendering, but we don't need it. It is not intention of our programs. And because of that, it is in body. And it is a reason why we use arrow function. Because somebody must call arrow function, explicitly call arrow function, that body of arrow function would be execute. Dispatch would be calling, update post call, set show edit form to fast, all in body would be execute only when somebody call, but call, what call? Call on update post click. Here is object, here is variable, script like variable, but it is arrow equal arrow function. And that arrow function we can call like variable. Here it is, variable without parentheses, or we can call it with parentheses. But here is important. Look at here. We call this object equal directly function with parentheses. Function with parentheses. And every rendering executed, it is calling, rendering, call it, execute it, and we have 1, 1. Here, object, declaration of object, equal arrow function. Concretely, it is process of asynchron. Asynchron process started and we must wait, etc. But it is not topic of this. Topic of this is function with parentheses, function as variable, function inside arrow function. And we want on update post click would be activate when we click on update. When we click on update button of that form. that moment we call on update post click. And interesting, and not we don't want execution of this function during rendering, but we must write this dispatch update post. We must write it like function. But how write it as function? Without arrow function. It is, if we want that rendering, don't execute it. And here is arrow function coming in use. And arrow function, there is no name, look at, but this name, this variable name is name of function. Arrow function, there is no name. There is parameter and there is a body. But there is no name. Because of that, this declaration of variable is name. This is name of our arrow function. And would be interesting how we call it. Let's go to see update button. Update button, take care. It is update button of update post form. And here is update post form. And let's go down, update click. Look at, here is a calling on update post click. It is, there is event on submit. Every form there is an event on submit. And that event on submit is when we click on a button of form. Button must be type submit. When we click form, can have only one button submit. And when we click on button like that, it is event on submit. It is event on submit, and that event on submit call on update post click. How call it? Like variable, like name of variable. I mean, syntax look at it, but we know that that variable equal arrow function. And we activate arrow function, and execution of arrow function means execution all parameter, execution all in body. And that in body would be directly calling of function, directly calling of function dispatch and set show edit form. Also update post. It is calling of update post is tank. We call tank update post. All that happen after click in button, after event on submit. Why we don't write here with parentheses? Because it would be activated during rendering, but we don't like it. We need activate it after push button update, after submit form, after event on submit, not during rendering or re-rendering. Okay, we have a lot of function and variable, and we have a lot of example. In this only 20 row, 20 row of this component, we have a lot of examples of function scripting, function coding, function syntax. And for get down, look at here on change. It is not directly, it is over, it is also arrow function, because we don't like set title directly. We set title, it is body, it is position, it is body of arrow function. This is arrow function. And this arrow function, here is a parameter, received as parameter something from outside, received it from our action on change. When we click outside of field, it is moment on change. In that moment, content in input field or text area field, in that moment, that event on change activate arrow function. And in body of arrow function would be calling set title, and that set title immutable update existing state or new state, what we write, what we just write in that field. And the parameter of set title means event, what event on change. Dot target, object target. What is object target here? Input, this input. This input, because on change here is attribute of input. And because it is an attribute of input, all what happened in right side is owned by input. Is owned by input field. And event is on change. It is a moment event when we click outside of field input. And in that moment would be activation, would be calling set title. It is call. It would be calling of arrow function, and arrow function activate. It means parameter that event go to body. In body, that event is part of it is object. Dot target is properties of that object. Dot value is properties of that hierarchy. It is properties of target. And properties of target is value. Look at here, value. Value equal title, in curly bracket title. And in this moment, we will have a value equal title. And it is in memory, value have new title. After update, have new title. And that new title stay there until we click update. When we click update, dispatch it value, title, and content would be dispatched through tank. Dispatch tank would be dispatched to dispatch. And we have 3 dispatch before to see component. Okay, now post content edit also. same thing. Value equal content, and on change, we will see a new value of content. And here is a button type submit. Would it be impossible click disabled if equal not one? Can say there is no can say. Can say is not one. Can say is false, is zero, is not one. Because exclamation mark means no, no, no can say, no one. But we see that can save is always one. After first rendering is one, and all times after that is one, and never problems submit. When we write both title and content, must be something in title and content. Cannot be empty, no one of them. Our logical order it, and update, submit, call, activate on submit, activate on update post click, and on update post click, means calling arrow function. Calling arrow function means execution, processing of arrow function, and when we see parameter and body, all that would be execute. Button type button on click. Here it is on click. On click is event of JavaScript. Also, on click is attribute of button. Button with the small case b button means it is HTML element. HTML element have attribute. Type equal button attribute. On click attribute. But when we have capital letters B, like in some example, it means React element. React element is object, always object, and object have properties or short props. Object have properties or short props. It is interesting that on click equal arrow function, and we can say that it is a method of object, but no. All here we call properties, props, because method can we see as variable, variable as method. We see all the time spoken, and no complicate what is method, what is it. It is the same. Type equal button, on click equal this arrow function. All that is properties, short props of concretely here button, type button. On click, here it is again. On click only can call this function, not rendering. Why? Because it is we hide it in body of arrow function. We don't try it directly, but in body of arrow function. And only arrow function can call set show edit form. It is all it is from Clojure. Set show edit form here in body, it is closed by arrow function. Arrow function is outer function. Set show edit form is inner function. And inner function can be called only from outer function. Only from outer function. Not something else. No, only from outer function. It is very, very important. Without it, all that go in water, underwater. Very, very important. Very, very important of closure effect. Arrow function is outer function. Set show edit form is inner function. Inner function can only be called from outer function. It means arrow function. Because only we call rendering, first rendering, cannot activate set show edit form. Because of that, cannot activate set show edit form. I don't know how people learn from my video, but I see that average times of looking my video is shorter than, much shorter than that video is timing, much shorter than time of all video. And people go, possible go to position, and in some clicks they go from beginning to end. And for example, this sentence, this my sentence that arrow function only, like outer function, can call set show edit form. I said it only in this moment. Who don't see all video, maybe will not hear, will not take to knowledge this very, very important observation, why we use arrow function. Until now, I said because of rendering that would not be activate set show edit form and other. But I now first time said because closure only outside, only out, inside, outside. Only outside function can call inside function. Never mind, people know how learn. Every of us learning different. Can be some parts where we are all the same, but incomplete when we look at in all process of learning, every of us learning different. And here is a cancel button, and we finished. I don't go to other component because I think all necessary example we have here. We have here function script code like variable, function code like function, and function call inside of arrow function, closed in arrow function. And it's all for this video. I hope that I was very, very clear. This is a video for total beginners. like you can see in title of this playlist. And we are very advanced, but I never forget that this playlist is for total beginners, and always I try to explain like you are total beginner what coming in this video first time, not before see any code, any programs. If you like this video, you like it. If you subscribe if you need to be informed of next video. You share about to your social network, share to your friends, and engaged because your engagement means growing of our community around this video. And growing of community means better learning. Without community, there is no learning. With community, bigger community, better, bigger learning, teaching and learning. And something else, all the time, experience coding, all the time coding it about video set, coding one time, second time, third time. You understand, but coding, it is two different things, understand and coding. And also by coding, you will have knowledge, complete knowledge, because it is together. Coding means grammar. It is like language. Child learn language, but don't know grammar. And learning language, but don't understand, or cannot write it. And because here is the same, you can understand, you can code, but you must a lot of time repeat experience writing. And when you're writing, you learn grammar. You learn why here is, why this is in curly brackets, why it is parentheses, it means arrow function, it is parameter here, it is a real value, post set show edit form, and this is body of arrow function, body. This is, it is all grammar rule. All my explanation, it is grammar rule, but I don't spoke why this name begin with capital letters, and this is a sort of camel syntax, camel notion. And when we every word in together name, in some name, start with begin with capital letters. Camel, I think camel notion. And this with the dot, it is Hungarian notion, where we have a post is object, dot, content is again, it is properties of object. And title here, it is a paragraph, but it is variable. It is not around, there is no around quarter, and it means it is variable. Content is variable. You see other color in this editor. It is variable, it is value. It is a value. But also here in curly brackets is value, also is value. when it is variable and parameter can have a different value, but also that variable always have value. But when we spoke about value, when we have value, it is argument. And parameter and argument, you don't need depend a lot of on thinking about argument, parameter. It is not important. It is important that you understand and that you practice coding, and with coding you see title with small capital case, small case, set title. Set title. We begin with the small case, but next set we use a set. It is set state from set state, but concretely state. What state? Title. And capital letters title. It is also camel notion, but begin with the small cases. But first word is small cases. And look at now, object is small cases. Use dispatch, hook, there is use, and capital letter dispatch. And only with practice, a lot of times coding, and even like that, you will know grammar, and you will know how names variable, object, function, etc. It is, you cannot know, you cannot understand or know without writing. Grammar, we learn that we write. In school, we learn letters, but after that, we begin write a word, and after that, sentence, and we know sentence, first letters in sentence is capital case, and after that, when coming comma, and etc., all is the same here. JavaScript, there is a grammar. Every language, there is a grammar. And you can write, search in Google JavaScript grammar, and you will have JavaScript grammar, and you can learn JavaScript grammar. I learned from first video, I learned your JavaScript grammar through experience, through concretely example, and your experience with that example. At first, you can go with look at, with understanding some from that video, but as soon as possible, you start coding. How coding? Copying. Look at in this code and write this code. At first, you will think in letters and don't think about what it means, but step by step, more and more, you will write faster and faster. Don't thinking about letters, but thinking about understanding. You will know story. You will write story. You will know what you type, not what letter you type, but what you type, variable, function, why you type it, what you declare, etc. It's all for this video. Thank you for watching this video.